Today on the show, we have Angelica Ventrice, who is the CEO and founder of Fit for Life. Let me tell you more about Angelica. Now, Angelica Ventrice is a high-performance mentor and health coach to female entrepreneurs, executives, and real estate agents who desire to up-level their health and wealth. She has been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, Authority Magazine, and MyFitnessPal, and she is obsessed with guiding driven women to shift their mindset and bank accounts while shedding those unwanted pounds along the way without ridiculous fad diets or crazy restrictions. To this date, she has helped over 700 women transform their bodies and minds while finding a true alignment in their personal and professional lives. Please, everyone listening, go visit Angelica at her website, which is angelicaventrice.com. That's VENTRICE. So angelicaventrice.com. We'll have a link in the show notes. And also, absolutely follow her on Facebook, which is at the Angelica Ventrice. That link is also in the show notes. Angelica, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Excited to be here.
I am really jealous of Angelica because she was like, yeah, I'm calling you from Maui, which is, I didn't realize she lived there. And that is absolutely one of my favorite places in the world to visit. And I've been there several times, but not to the southern part of the island, the southwest part of the island, I guess where you are, which is supposed to be even like the best part of the island. So
magical place. So everyone needs to come here at least once in their life. For sure.
Oh, it's, I always say like you could even skip Oahu. Not that there's anything wrong with Oahu, like Oahu's lovely and nice and fun.
Definitely skip Oahu. Don't go to Oahu. It's a city on the beach. If you want a city, go to New York City or LA. You don't need to go
That's
to
right. Yeah, I remember the first time as a family we started in Oahu and I was like, oh. Yeah, and I was young. I was in college. I was thrilled to be able to go to Hawaii. I was so lucky. And Oahu was like, okay, this is okay. And then when we got to Maui, I was like,
right,
like, this is nice. This is nice.
I know the first time I got to Oahu, I was like, all right. It's just, I really felt like I was just, there was a beach.
Yeah, in a big city.
Yeah, big city. And it's a lot of shopping and it's not vacation mode for me.
Not as much fun.
No. Yeah.
But that is awesome. Well, I could talk about Hawaii all day because I am I dream about going there and I haven't been there in many, many years. But I'm glad that we're able to communicate and chat, and we're glad to have you on the show. And I was telling Angelica before we started that, well, my memory is garbage, so this might not actually be true, but I think it is true. This is the first time we've had a health and wellness expert on our show in about 400 episodes, and specifically one who deals with real estate agents. So this is so exciting. I'm so excited. I am a big proponent of health even before wealth, right? I think health is the catalyst for everything. This is our temple. And it's a good idea to pay attention to what you're shoving into your temple while you're having to run your rest of your life. So I would love to start with your journey. Tell us how you got into the fitness space, the health and wellness space. What was that? Why did you do that? And how did you do it?
Yeah. So I'm originally from New York. You guys may hear it come out of my accent with certain words. So, like 13 years ago, I was living in New York and I was overweight basically my whole life. Like from the time I was a child, all through high school, I was uncomfortable. I was heavier. I had acne. I didn't love myself. And it kind of lasted all the way up until my mid-20s. So I was doing medical sales at the time. So this is where I find a lot of similarities to when I was doing medical sales to being in real estate. And I think that's what has led me to work with a lot of real estate agents, because I was there, I was like hustling, you're on the go, you're just like going from doctor's office to doctor's office. And I really was not taking care of myself. I was entertaining, just like how a lot of real estate agents entertain, right? So it's entertaining, hustling. It was just that really, honestly, just go, right? Like a lot of
not a lot of routine, right? It was like different doctor's office every day, constantly racing around, grabbing food when you can.
Yes. Yeah. Grabbing food, like stopping at Starbucks to get the office snacks, and then just eating whatever at Starbucks, or stopping at Dunkin' Donuts. And it was a lot of that, and it just added up on top of the weight that I had already just gained throughout my whole life. One day it just kind of hit me. I'm like, I'm done. Like I felt so horrible. I felt lethargic. I felt uncomfortable. I had to keep buying bigger suits and dresses. At a point I was just like, no, I'm done. Like you hit a breaking point. So I hired my first coach and worked out with him a few times a week. I was in my 20s and I really, investment wise, I didn't have the investment at that point, but I was like, here's my credit card. When you want to do something, you want to do it and you figure it out. That's really how I feel. And I was like, I'll figure it out later. I don't even care. So I started working with him, started losing the weight. And through that journey, something just hit me. I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to help other women, because it wasn't just shedding the weight, releasing the weight. When you release the weight, you release a lot of energy and stories that you had been clinging on to your whole entire life, telling myself, I'm the fat girl. I'm always going to be fat. It's my genetics. Like all those things, those that you're holding on to, you release an identity. And I felt so much happier, so much lighter mentally and physically. And I decided to get my certifications while I was doing medical sales. And then I was like, I don't want to live in New York. I hate the cold. And I knew California really is the mecca of health and fitness. Like, it's just, everyone's very healthy out there. It's, it's sunny all the time. Everyone's running. And I'm like, I want to live in California. So I believe in manifestation. And I just started to like manifest it. I took a trip out there. I went to interview at Equinox Gym, which I had never worked in a gym. They were like, what experience do you have? I'm like, absolutely none, but I'm really passionate about changing women's lives. And I can prove to you that like, this is something I want to do. Left my medical sales job, moved from New York to California without a job lined up. Like yeah, but I was smart. I saved. And I did get the job at the gym eventually and worked my way up there, and then decided that I wasn't really fulfilled just doing personal training. Like fitness wasn't deep enough for me. So I got nutrition certifications, and then you can only move up so far at a gym and you could only see so many clients in a day. And I was like, I want to branch out on my own, and decided to move into the online space. And that's where my program Fit for Life was born. And then I really got into nutrition, mindset, gut health, the metaphysical aspects to weight loss. And then fitness is honestly the smallest component now of my program. Everyone gets customized workouts, but what I really believe is that your mindset and your gut health and the food you intake has way more to do with your weight loss and your transformation and your happiness than just doing the workouts. So yes, the workouts are important, but it's the least important in my opinion. And here we are. Now I live in Maui. So here we are.
It's an incredible journey, and it's impressive that I always think it's so fun when something grabs a hold of you and it becomes an obsession at first, and then possibly a career, and you've done that. And I think it's so awesome to talk to people when that, whatever that thing it is for them, grabs a hold of them, and it just they can't shake it loose. And then all of a sudden they're like, exactly. And so I love that. And so I would love, I think I would love to first, because our audience, so just to give you, and you work with realtors, so but just to sort of set the stage, our audience, our lovely listeners who we are so thrilled are here and paying attention. These are people who, wear a lot of different hats. They basically are their own business owner. Maybe they're on a team, but essentially it's probably they're doing incredible amounts of work. They're working bizarre hours of the day, sometimes into the night, nights and weekends. It's a customer service job in a lot of respects. So they are having to mold their time around when their clients are available to go see homes and be available for buying and selling things. So it's tough for them, for number one, for structure, because they're at their client's beck and call. So I would just first love to let's first make the case. We won't deal with myths right now. Let's make the case about why it's so important for all of our listeners to be paying attention to their physical well-being and their mental well-being.
For sure. Well, your body is your main vessel. So if you're not taking care, like you said, it's your temple, it's your vessel. At a certain point, no matter how well you're doing in your business, you want to grow to the next level. We all do. Let's be real. Real estate agents, you're entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. We want to keep going and going. That's why we got into these businesses in the first place. So at a certain point, if you're not taking care of your health, your body can only hold so much energy, hold so much wealth, hold so much. So you really need to start to implement boundaries and structure, being less reactive, paying attention to your mindset, your reactivity, adding in things like meditation. We can go into all the things, but if you're not taking care of that, at a certain point, you're going to reach burnout. You're going to have gut health issues. You're going to feel extreme fatigue, inflammation in your joints, bloat. And then when you're operating at that leads you to operate at a low level energetically, right? The vibrations that you're putting out. The first thing a client sees when you take them to the house is you. And if you don't like the way you look and you don't feel good, What type of energy are you putting out into the world? And the clients feel that no matter what sales position you're in, whether you're selling real estate, whether you're selling whatever you're selling, clients feel your energy. So if you're not in a good vibrational state because you're not taking care of your health and your body, how much more wealth can you actually make?
Yeah, it's a really strong point. And I always had this question, and I'm curious to hear your answer, because a lot of us who are listening, myself included, would like to shed, a few pounds of fat, or maybe more. And so a lot of us who maybe we consider ourselves overweight, or not the ideal body size that we would like to be. When we look at ourselves in the mirror, we do have some of those negative thoughts of, oh, I can't believe maybe I did this to myself, or, some shame, some guilt, this idea that I don't like the where I'm at, and therefore there's something wrong with me kind of feeling. How do you start with someone like that? Because I think that doesn't get talked about a lot. And I think a lot of us fall into that category where we look for what's wrong. Maybe our body is really lovely, but in our mind, we have, some sort of distorted view of it, where, or maybe it is actually not the right shape that we would like it to be. But we have a lot of shame and guilt around that. So how do you deal with that? What do we say to people who are in
For
that
sure.
space?
And that's very common. I can relate, because when I was overweight, I felt that. I think the first thing is, it's really helpful when you work with an expert to help take you through releasing those feelings of shame and guilt. And I use different methods, whether it's visualization, meditation, tapping, a mindset coaching call. But, it's okay to want to change things about yourself, but you still have to do it from a place of self-love. So, for instance, I'll use myself. Like, I got a nose job a few years ago. I'll be totally honest about it. I did a YouTube video on it. People are very interested in this. I did it because I didn't like my nose, not because I hated myself, right? And when I wanted to lose weight, there was a point where I didn't like the way I looked. But you have to really say, like, what do you love about yourself? Even if you want to lose weight, what are some great things that you love about yourself? Physical, mental, accomplishments in your career, and remember those things and start to release the guilt and shame. Because what does that do? Honestly, if you're trying to lose weight, that makes it harder. If you're feeling guilty, if you're feeling shameful, if you're feeling super negative, those thoughts affect your physiological body in a negative way. They increase cortisol. They mess with your hormones. So if you can just actually learn to just say, okay, like, no, I don't like the way I look right now. I know I have some weight to lose. What am I going to do about it? Instead of wallowing in the stories and the guilt and the shame. I say to my clients, a lot of us live in the doom dungeon. Like, oh, I wish this, I hope this, oh, I shouldn't have done this. Oh, I'm so guilty. Oh, what if I fail? It's like, that doesn't get you anywhere. Living in the doom dungeon doesn't get you anywhere. So it's starting to release those feelings. And I'm not saying it's easy, but there are different methods, like journaling, meditation, visualization, working with a coach, tapping, movement, grounding. There's many things you can do.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I've always heard the best place you can be, the best mindset you could have if you're looking to change your physical, vitality, or your physical shape, is to look in the mirror and say, well, it's not what I'd like it to be. I'd actually prefer it to be, a different shape. And I really want to make that happen, but I can still love myself, even though I'm not the shape I would prefer to be. And I can still go after the shape I want to be.
Exactly. Yes.
So it's this teasing apart of the identity of, like, oh, I'm fat, right? It's like, okay, yes, I have some fat I'd like to lose, and
right, yeah,
and I'm a really great person too, or I have all these other great qualities. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? It's like, I'm fat doesn't mean I'm a bad person, or it just means I have some extra weight that I would like to get rid of. Like, okay, cool. And by the way,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's admirable to have an honest appraisal of your situation, and go, and how great is it that I'm thinking about this and thinking about making changes? Like, that in and of itself is huge.
Yes. And like I said, you can love yourself and still want to change certain things about yourself. I love myself, but I didn't like my nose. I got a nose job. There's plenty of people that do that. Like, you love yourself, but you think that you're a little bit overweight. Change it. Like, let's not wallow in it. Let's just move forward and do something about it.
And
take action. Action always wins.
Action, yes, and action can even supersede belief, I think. So it's
action and then belief. Action and then belief. Take the action. You're not always going to believe you can do it. once you start to see the results on your weight loss journey, then your belief will increase. But if you just take action, imperfect action, do something, action trumps the belief.
Imperfect action. I love that. That is a great thing to remember for any part of life that you're looking to make a change at. Just take some action. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just do something. But let's talk about okay, so thank you. That, I think that's a great way to set the stage. And we should also talk about because I was looking at your website and I was seeing the transformations of gosh, it was like dozens of women who and there was visual
so many,
It is oh, I know the page is like, it's like an infinite scroll of people who have really transformed their life. And you can see it visually, and then they write about it as well. And I was just so impressed. And I know, like, I didn't take a before and after photo of myself when I started working out, but I do sort of look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, if like, we were talking about this before we started, like, I don't even like working out, but I do it. And as a result, I get the benefit. So that's another thing too, is I don't know that you have to love every part of exercise or being, fit or in shape or dieting or sorry, not dieting, but having a good nutritional sort of plan. But as long as you do it, you get a ton of benefit from it. So I'm somebody who doesn't enjoy working out because it's hard, it's painful, it's not fun. But we were talking about this outside or before we started. When I leave the gym, I feel, number one, I feel good because I've got all these great sort of endorphins racing through my body. Number two, I'm proud of myself because I did something crazy hard. And that's all I have to, and then I get all the benefit. So I have to go through a little bit of the pain, quite a bit of pain actually, but that's okay. Life is pain. Life's got pain involved, but I get all the benefit. And I think this idea of diving headfirst into physical pain to get benefit is actually like part of the deal when you work out. Like, that's just how it is. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable to get stronger.
You have to be willing to get uncomfortable in any area of your life if you desire growth, in your business, in your health, in your relationships, in all areas of life. So, and the things that we resist, they persist. So if you keep resisting the fact that you need to work out, or if you're trying to grow in your business and you're resisting the fact that you need to hire an assistant because you're so busy, but it's everything that you resist will persist and creep up on you to a worse level, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So
yes, 1000%.
I would love all my clients to love the workouts. Some of them love it more, some of them don't, but they all do it. And then of course you want to add in things that you do love. So if you don't love strength training, maybe you do it a few days a week, and you love yoga. So maybe you add in a yoga. So you never want to be miserable, but
no, you don't want to be miserable.
Not everyone likes lifting weights. A lot of people hate like cardio and burpees. So I'm like, okay, you don't need to do any of that. Just walk, So we really do work with our clients. I never want anyone to feel like they really hate it. Like, I had clients who are just like, I hate lifting. Can I do boxing and running? I'm like, okay. Like, I do believe in strength training, especially for the longevity of your joints and your bones and everything. And especially if you do desire to lose weight, you need to lift weights to build lean muscle mass. But if someone really hates it, there's other ways. And then the nutrition and the mindset's a big part. But yeah, it's not just like, oh, I look good. It's, oh, I feel good, the endorphins, the energy, and you become so much stronger mentally and physically from working out and putting yourself in those challenges.
What's your advice on the best time of day for real estate agents to exercise? I know, obviously. Yep, there you go. Morning.
I just had a one-on-one call with one of my new clients. She's a real estate agent, and she asked me this exact question, literally. Also, she missed our tribe call last night because she was closing a deal. She's like, I can't believe I missed the call. And I'm like, this is what we're going to talk about on our next coaching call, boundaries, right? So she was saying like, I'm not really a morning person, but I know if I leave the workout till later in the day, I'm like, you will never do the workout after a full day of working and you're running around. I know how real estate agents operate, house to house, calls, running around. You're not going to work out at 7:00 at night. Let's be real. Let's be real. So just wake up a half hour earlier, and then you can move half hour to 45 minutes, and then eventually becomes an hour earlier, and then you fit in a longer workout. And remember, to the real estate agents listening, in the beginning, if you're just starting on your weight loss journey, right? The workouts don't need to be long. You can start with like 15, 20 minutes and work your way up. Something is better than nothing. Moving your body is better than not doing anything. 5 minutes of meditation in the morning is better than nothing. So just doing little things, little tiny things lead to big results. So if you're a real estate agent and you're listening, you're like, well, I don't have an hour in the morning, then just do a 15-minute workout. Like we customize all of our workouts. So some of my clients literally just have 15-minute workouts because they are that busy. And then they leave the longer ones for other days.
And you do sort of get hooked on it after a while, even though you may or may not like it, you get hooked on it because you know it's good for you and you can start to see, maybe even see results or feel results. So it becomes, I think, I was thinking about when you're in an airplane and when they do the announcements, which I usually zone out for, but they always say, yeah, I'm like, I don't know if God forbid there's an actual like fire on the plane or the plane's going down, I'll have no idea what to do. But we all know that they say, hey, if the oxygen becomes, the oxygen levels decrease and the thing comes down with the masks, put your own mask on first before you can.
Such a good analogy. Oh my gosh, such a good analogy. Yes. Save yourself first. Your clients will be okay. You don't need to answer at 10 o'clock at night. They could wait till the morning.
They can wait. Pay yourself first, and that includes health and wellness. And so first thing of the day, it sounds like, Angelica, you're suggesting pay yourself first. And by what I mean is you're basically doing a favor for your future self by getting to the gym or working out or doing something related to health or nutrition. You're paying your future, you're doing a favor for your future, the older you that's coming. And so I could not agree with you more. I don't do them in the morning, but I have it structured in the middle of my day, and it happens to be a few blocks from where I live. So it sort of works for me that way.
If you can do that, great. For females,
but I couldn't do it after work. After work,
no, there's a lot of getting ready. So like if you have to, we have to do our hair, I do our makeup, so when I did medical sales and I was on the go, just like being a real estate agent, I would take my bag of stuff with me to my trainer, and then just shower and get ready from the gym and then have my day from there. So either way, you have to be prepared. So if you know you're going to work out in the morning and it's earlier than usual, set your stuff out the night before, put your make your smoothie the evening before, make your egg cups. This is what we do with our clients. We help them with routines. We're not just like giving them meal plans and workouts. We're like helping them fit it into their life, because that's an integral part. And that's how you stick with it. And it becomes a lifestyle. If it feels too hard to fit into your life or too complicated, you're going to start and then you're going to stop. You're going to start and then you're going to stop over and over again. So it really needs to fit into your lifestyle. It's very important for real estate agents.
I agree. And I also think too, this idea of, like you were talking about, planning in advance eliminates the need to make more decisions. So like throughout the day, our listeners are having to react to a million different things that are coming at them. But if you don't have to think about breakfast, lunch, exercise, because it's already booked into your schedule and you already have your meals ready to go, then it's like 3 or 4 less things to worry about. And you're probably, you're going to make better decisions.
Yeah. You feel better. When you feel better, you perform better. If you're eating well, your gut is in good health, right? Your brain is clearer. You feel better, your skin, you have more energy, so that, that go maybe doesn't feel as hard. Not saying you don't need to slow down. All you real estate agents need to slow down, drink less coffee, walk more. I mean, we can go, there's a whole list. We can go into all that, but one of the most important things that I teach, I work one-on-one with a lot of real estate agents and do health and wealth, is really slowing down first thing in the morning, not going to their phone and looking at their emails and answering and going crazy, actually turning inward. The morning is the best time to slow down. It's a time where you're creative. So just take 5-10 minutes and do meditation. I mean, literally, if you never meditated, just sit there for 5 minutes and breathe. Or find a guided meditation. There's so many options. And then do your workout, do your, eat your breakfast, whatever you desire your morning routine to be, but not waking up and increasing your cortisol the second you wake up, because that leads to weight gain. Like, oh my God, oh gosh, this client emailed me, and then immediately you're starting your day in a heightened stress state. What does stress do? It changes the biodiversity in your microbiome, in your gut. It increases cortisol, which then leads to weight gain. So now you're in this vicious cycle.
I stopped looking at social media. Well, I don't really look much at social media at all, but I stopped specifically looking at it before bed and when I first wake up, because I noticed that I was just too emotionally reactive to what was happening. Some good things, some sad things, some angry things, some, it's this just intense environment. And it's addictive because of the way that these tech companies have figured out how to sort of activate our
constant dopamine hits.
constant dopamine hits and constant just emotional reactions to things. So it's one of those things where I just kind of measured. I was like, do I feel better after I check my social media first thing in the morning? Like, how do I feel? Am I more anxious? Am I less anxious? Am I more stressed? And it was all, oh, I'm actually worse off. Now, and I'm not saying that's everybody, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be on social media, but notice how you feel when you do these activities and notice how it sets up the rest of your day. But you're absolutely right. I want to talk about gut health because we have never talked about gut health on this show. And I feel this is something that most people go, oh yeah, I sort of know that there's a mind body connection, and the gut has all this information that sends signals to the brain, but I don't think a lot of us know really what that means. So what does gut health mean to you, and how should we define it?
So yeah, what you just mentioned is the vagus nerve does link the brain down to the digestive tract. So when you actually say, I have a gut feeling, oh, I have a gut feeling, that's a real thing. So, I mean, the gut microbiome refers to the trillions of microorganisms that make up your gut, okay? And what happens over time when we are highly stressed, we take a lot of antibiotics, we don't treat our body well nutrition-wise, we're always on the go, we're very reactive, I mean, you know, all the things. We allow the toxins to kind of seep in because the gut lining gets thinner and thinner and thinner, so it becomes more permeable. And when that happens, that leads to a slew of symptoms. Now, there are the obvious poor gut health symptoms like irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, diarrhea, bloating. Everyone knows those. But then there's the other ones that I find like a lot of real estate agents don't even realize. They'll be like, I'm so tired, I'm so fatigued, my joints hurt, I have headaches. Those are all signs of poor gut health. Skin irritations, eczema, depression, anxiety. A lot of people, there's a lot of studies come out, a lot of people who have ADHD and high levels of anxiety, it's related to poor gut health. So as your real estate agent and you're very busy, you're on the go, we don't need to make it worse by having poor gut health, right? Because that stress, your constant state of stress is really changing the biodiversity of your gut microbiome. So we want to feed your gut with lots of healthy bacteria. So how do you do that? You eat a lot of fiber. So I always say a lot of veggies, fruits and veggies are great, and obviously lean proteins. But what happens when you eat a lot of fiber? I'm always like telling my real estate agents, eat more greens, eat more greens, eat more greens, drink more water, less coffee. Fiber, when it enters the gut, gets turned into a short chain fatty acid, which feeds the healthy bacteria. And then there's, of course, foods you can include. There's, I have a list here: onions, leeks, sauerkraut, veggies, leafy greens, Mct oil, coconut oil, salmon. So there's a lot of great foods that will help your gut become more healthy, but you really have to pay attention to other factors like your stress levels and your thoughts, and if you're taking antibiotics and things that you're putting in your body, unfortunately.
Yeah, you just said a lot.
Sorry.
No. It was all really, really great stuff. So let's talk. So with respect to gut health, so you talked about the symptoms. So we're talking about bloating and other
brain fog, poor sleep. Yeah, everything that affects your performance. If you have brain fog, if you have poor sleep, if your joints hurt, you don't feel well, you're not going to be performing at your best in your career. That's the bottom line. I've been there. So I've had these things. That's why I got so passionate about gut health. It affected my performance. You can only take so many calls or see so many clients or do so many things when you feel like crap.
And then I want to talk about carbs, because I obviously there's this, lots of people have different sort of interpretations of what carbs are, but let's talk about what carbs. Well, there's obviously good carbs and bad carbs.
Okay, wait, whoa. Let's start right there.
Healthy carbs, and go ahead.
Okay, we're going to go. There are no good and bad. Food has no moral. This is a very important lesson for anyone.
Yes.
Food has no moral value. Unfortunately, the health and fitness industry has somehow moralized food. People think they are bad if they have a cookie, and people think they're good if they had a salad. Let's take this off the table. There's no good food. There's no bad food. There's no good carbs. There's no bad carbs. Certain carbs are more nutrient dense than other carbs. So the carbs that are more nutrient dense, I think this is your question, right, are going to be things like sweet potatoes, rice, quinoa. You can do chickpeas, lentil pasta, things like that. And then the non-nutrient dense carbs are going to be kind of obvious, like your white breads, your donuts.
Simple carbs.
Basically, yes, there's complex carbs and simple carbs. Simple carbs, things that, or just regular pasta. Even if you don't have celiac and you don't have an allergy to gluten, gluten has still been proven to be quite inflammatory to people's guts. I'm not saying never eat it. Sometimes I want pizza, I have a slice of pizza, but on a daily basis, it's something, if you minimize, I believe you'll feel a lot better. I've noticed it in myself and my clients. So yeah, but there's no good food, there's no bad food. You're not bad if you have a cupcake, you're just fine. It's okay.
Thank you for making that distinction, because
Sure.
that's even something that, even though I know better, I just gave food, I evaluated it, right? And I gave it a good and bad. And you're right. That is absolutely not a great idea, because good and bad leads to good and bad feelings. And then there's shame and guilt. So,
exactly. Totally.
So thank you for checking me on that, because because it's so ingrained in our culture to say, oh, I just ate something bad for me.
Yeah. I'm so bad. I had cake at my son's party. I can't believe it. Now I've ruined everyone does it. My clients still do it. It's a constant reminder. So I talk about a lot on my Instagram. I'm reminding people all the time, because repetition is how you learn. Food has no moral value.
Can you mentioned MCT oil, and I don't want to get too specific about any particular food, but I want to say that if anyone listening is not familiar with MCT oil, and it's not a miracle sort of oil, but it is absolutely, it is a really cool sort of product that, if you're not familiar, but basically it helps sustain sort of satiation, right? Like this idea of being satiated. It's a really cool. So if you haven't looked into MCT oil, it is absolutely a wonderful thing to help sort of smooth out your cravings and anyway, it's
also it also helps seal your gut lining. So if you're someone with poor gut health, you want to include coconut products, MCT oil, which is medium chain triglyceride, into your diet, because it's really going to help. It's going to help your gut become more permeable, which we need, less permeable. Sorry. Yeah. You definitely want to be adding things like I mentioned some of the foods before, and MCT oil was one of them. So it's great for gut health, but also great to help you stay more full.
So let's talk about like a general plan that you might put together for someone. And obviously we can't do that here on the show, tailor-made to each listener, but how, like, we're really talking about a number of different things. We're talking about our physical well-being, which includes, nutrition and exercise.
Right.
We're talking about our emotional well-being, which includes mindset, stress, just our own emotional challenges.
Right.
And kind of marrying those two together and understanding that they aren't separate entities. They really are one. So what's a prescription? So you talked about waking up in the morning, doing a little meditation, not jumping on social, sort of centering yourself, getting calm, having your breakfast, exercising. And then what other suggestions might you have for someone to create a routine?
Like you said, everyone is different, but typically with real estate agents, and everyone's different depending. Some people will like to work out and eat breakfast after, to each his own. But the best thing you can do is be prepared. So we go through meal prep with our clients. We give them a meal plan, and we say, do you want super easy meals? Do you like more complicated meals? Do you want to be more fancy? Everyone's different. So for instance, we might give them like egg cup recipes, smoothie recipes, stuff that's really simple for them to just make for the week, so they can be prepared. You can make like chia seed, oat pudding, and have jars of that in your fridge. So this way you can just get out the door, go on your day, and not have to think about your food. I mean, you can get, when I was a medical sales rep, I had like a cooler with me in my car. I worked out of my car. Real estate agents work out of their car. Don't make excuses. You don't need to stop and get food. Just eat in your car. Eat, or I mean, you can go sit somewhere, but have your food with you. There's really no excuse. You can prep it the night before. Get your salad and your grilled chicken ready and your hummus, whatever you want, but have stuff prepared. Being prepared is essential, just like you're prepared for your business. When you go to show a house, how many bedrooms, what type of molding, what type of floor, right? If there's a pool, all these things about it. So you're really prepared for your career. Translate that energy to your health. You will be more successful in both areas. You will lose the weight and make more money.
I agree. It's about 12 years ago, I decided it's funny. Like sometimes it takes like years and years to notice something that's super obvious to everyone but yourself. So I noticed that when I didn't prepare my meals, so I have more of an office job. And I've always had office jobs pretty much my whole life. But when I didn't prepare my meals the night before or the morning of, I would make choices, for lunch, because I didn't have a lunch. And whenever I did, I found that most of the time I made a choice that after consuming it, I went, oh, I wish I would have made a different choice. I wish I would have chosen something that, was more nutrient dense, and
Right.
using your language. And so then I said, well, okay, maybe I'm just not good at making those decisions in the middle of a business day when there's all this stress coming at me, and I just want something that'll like satisfy
Totally.
or
Because you're just so
make
hungry. Yeah, you're just like, get like just eat
I'm
whatever.
hungry and I'm stressed, and I just want something that feels good in the moment, which is usually less nutrient dense types of foods, candies, things like that.
Yeah, of course.
So I went, oh, well, if I just made my lunch every day, then I wouldn't have to think about it. And at least I'd still have all the stress, but at least I wouldn't be making things more challenging for myself by making maybe a poorer decision around what I eat that day. So like, that it was just logic for me. And you were saying a cooler. I have a little cooler under my desk with my meals, and it doesn't look, I mean, there's plenty of parts of my life that are not in balance, but the best, I will tell you, the two big things about preparing in advance, being intentional about what you eat, is you're probably going to make a better decision if you prepare in advance.
Yeah.
And you don't have to think about it the next day. You have enough things to think about, like one
better.
less thing.
Yeah, you feel better. For the ladies who are listening, like, doesn't it feel better where you're not feeling bloated in your clothes all day? Like, when
Right.
you eat crappy food, even like Whole Foods, right? You go to the salad bar there, it's still, it's sitting out.
It's a lot of junk.
A lot of junk. You don't really know, then you pick a crappy dressing. So you just feel so much better. When you feel better, you perform better, and you make more money, and you look better in your clothes. Come on.
It's a win-win, but I think you're so right about making sure that mindset, because you can be the most disciplined person in the gym or with food, but if your mindset is such that you have trauma that hasn't been repaired, or you have beliefs about yourself that maybe were instilled when you were a child, or through, from other people, that are getting in the way of you feeling good about yourself. That's a huge part of it too, because that will get people to think, oh, if I just hit that perfect weight goal, I'm going to be happy.
Nope.
Right. Or if I just make that certain amount of money, that's when the happiness turns on.
No.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Like when you get to the top of the mountain, this is why I'm not a big fan of goals. I've never been a big goal guy. I think you should have direction. I think you should know where you want to head. But the reason why I don't love goals, and I'm curious to get your thoughts, and it's not that we shouldn't, like, businesses have goals. We should have goals in certain areas of our life. But when it comes to our own personal well-being, I think the problem with goals is we sometimes get too attached to them. It's like, once I hit X, I will feel good about myself.
Your happiness can't be dependent on something outside of yourself. It can't be, when I make this amount of money, then I'll be happy. When I lose this amount of weight, then I'll be happy. You may be happier. You may have a more sense of freedom when you make more money. You may have more freedom and alignment in your body when you hit that certain number. But if you are not enjoying the journey and you are only looking to the outcome, you're going to have a very miserable life, whether that's in weight loss or your career. If you're chasing making $1 million, all you're focusing on in your business is hitting that first $1 million. You're forgetting to be present in all the other aspects of your business and your life. Same thing on your weight loss journey. If you're only focused on losing the 40 pounds and getting to that 40-pound weight loss by this day, are you enjoying all the small wins along the way? How you feel, how your clothes fit, how's your energy, how heavy you lifted in the gym for the first time, you got a PR on your run, all the things that happen, how clear and beautiful your skin looks, how your gut health has improved. You're forgetting all those things when you're only focusing on the outcome. And your happiness cannot be dependent on something outside of you. And you touch upon something else, mindset and your weight and your body. We hold our issues in our tissues. So if you do not resolve past beliefs, past pattern, past trauma, you are holding on to stagnant energy in your body, which of course leads to weight gain, because it's going to be an increase in cortisol. Most people who have tried and failed on various weight loss programs have failed to realize that their thoughts, 80,000 thoughts a day, affect their physiological body. And that is one of the main things I teach that's very different than many other health programs out there. So I teach the physical, which is like we talked about, the strategy, the routines, the macros, the calories, the workouts, but then the metaphysical is equally as important.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And I couldn't, it's funny. It's like, we think, oh, if I just get in shape, then I'm happy, or if I
Right.
just eat right. And it's like, well, okay, yes, you're happy. You probably will be happier,
Yes.
but you can be happy now, even if you're hundreds of pounds more, if you have hundreds of pounds more weight than you would like to have, you can still find happiness, and as you were saying, and strive to have a different physical or mental well-being. So I think it's I always love when I meet people who have who will say, oh, I really want to make this change, but there isn't that shame attached to it of like, but where I'm at right now is really embarrassing. As I was thinking about this, my girlfriend works with somebody who well, actually, you know what? I won't tell that story now that I think about it, because it's going to be a bit tighter. But I will say that shame will and guilt will absolutely just completely shut it down. It will shut down your motivation, right? So making sure that you're having or in a good mindset, you have a good sort of mental health program in place to make sure that as you're happily achieving, you're doing these very difficult things, because that's the other thing too, is we're talking about health and fitness. Just like any part of life, it's difficult. It's really a lot of work. It's worth it, but it's difficult. And so you really want to make sure that all your bases are covered, so you have the best chance of having the most vitality.
Yeah. Love
And
it.
I love it. Tell us a little bit more about what Fit for Life does for clients, because we have a lot of listeners. They need a coach, and tell
They
us
need a
about.
coach.
Well,
Yes.
look, I need a coach too. I
We
have a
all need
coach.
coaches. I mean,
We
think
all
about
need coaches,
the greatest athletes in the world have coaches and a team.
right? The
When
best,
people say
the
to me,
very best at something in the world. Those
exactly,
people all have
Olympic
coaches.
athletes, right? Michael Jordan. Like, I mean, if you ever
Yeah,
watch that documentary on
yeah,
Netflix, that was great, that Michael Jordan documentary. But he literally talks about how he wouldn't have gotten to where he was without Phil Jackson. You know what I
right.
mean? So when people say to me they're going to keep trying to lose weight on their own, I'm like, all right, it's the slowest way of doing anything is doing it on your own. Tony Robbins says that at all of his conferences. The slowest way to learn is on your own. So what we do is everything is customized and tailored. We take a holistic approach. Everything is, individuality is very important to us. Like how I eat is not going to be how you eat, not going to be how Susie eats. We all eat very different. We all have different caloric needs, macronutrient needs, which is your protein, fats, and carbs. So we do teach macros, and then we teach intuitive eating. The workouts are customized. So like I said, whether you're at home or a gym, you need 15-minute workouts, hour workouts, you're a runner, you're a cyclist, you're a swimmer. We do it all. Everything is customized. We have a head of training who does all the programming for that. From a nutrition standpoint, completely customized. We have a gut health protocol that we do with our clients. We have a functional medicine doctor on staff to do gut health testing for you to see if you wanted to do a stool test, see if you have food sensitivities, hormonal testing, blood work. And then we do a lot of mindset work, and that's through the one-on-one coaching, the messaging back and forth with the coaches. And then every Wednesday, I lead a mindset coaching call on various topics. So feminine energetics, personal power, attracting more wealth, positive mindset. We do little book clubs. So there's a lot. We have a membership site. We have a spiritual coach for meditation and yoga. So I think that's all. Yeah.
That's all, but that's everything, right?
Yeah,
You just touched
yeah.
on physical, right? So you touched on the physical. We touched on the emotional or the mental.
Yep.
We also touched on, and you just touched on spiritual too, because
Yes.
it's not just me.
Everything's connected. Yes, everything's connected.
Yes. And so I love this, because what the word holistic just gets thrown around way too much. But in this case, you actually do have a true holistic program.
We
So
do.
it's not just, hey, we're going to lose weight and that's it.
Exactly.
We're going to lose weight, or if, well, that's not everyone's goal. Some people's goals to gain weight, but we're going to get healthier physically. We're going to get healthier mentally and spiritually. I mean, those are the three things, right? And all of those things will then feed your business. They'll feed your interpersonal relationships.
Yes.
You'll be a better partner to your
better partner, better mom, better in your business. It bleeds
everything.
to every area. And I always say the Fit for Life program is not a weight loss program. It is a
Right.
life transformation program. You will lose weight and transform your body as a byproduct of what we teach you, but it's not just a weight loss program. And I have clients, so many of them making way more money, getting raises, getting promotions. I mean, my one new real estate agent client, after one of our calls, she's like, I already feel a shift and I just got this new house from, I mean, literally she messaged me this morning. So it's working on your energetics too, and what energy you're putting out to the universe. And I teach a lot about manifestation, and a lot of real estate agents have no idea about the 3 fields and the quantum field. And they're like mind blown so there's so many things that it's amazing. So.
I want to end with something. I just thought of this and I want to get your take on it. So instead of, for a lot of us that wish we were wish when we looked at the scale number that it was lower than the number we see, what if we were to say instead, I'd like to lose weight rather, because for me, like, it's easy for me to say, oh, I'd like to lose a few pounds of fat. But the reality of it is I don't really want to lose a few pounds of fat. I'd rather transform that fat into muscle. So for me, I think it'd be healthier, and I'm curious to get your take on this, for me to say, I have a little bit of fat I'd like to transform into muscle. That would that be a better mindset versus I have a few pounds to lose?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person, because if you say I have some weight to lose and you don't feel triggered or shameful by it, then
Great.
I think, okay. So I think it's a very individualistic thing. I also think I tell some of my clients to not weigh themselves and just focus on their clothes. So I think everyone is so different, and what feelings get triggered within them.
Yeah.
Like for me, when I was on my weight loss journey, I never weighed myself. I never wanted to see. I could look at myself in the mirror though, and I could see my clothes. I could feel my clothes start to fall off of me, right? So that's a good shift. Or you can just say like, I'm on this process of releasing weight and transforming my body. I'm not getting upset. I say like, we don't need to get obsessed over how many pounds it is. Let's just start the journey, because we're not dumb. We know if you have 40 pounds to lose, we don't need to keep talking about the amount number. Like, let's just do the damn thing and take action. Like, we don't need to harp on, oh, I lost 2. Oh, I lost 3. It's like, let's just keep going. And for me, that's what helped me most. That's what helps a lot of my clients. I do have some clients that like to weigh themselves more. It's all individualized though. So it depends on the individual, but that is a good, yes, you can say.
Yeah. I had to stop weighing myself for a similar reason. I just got too emotional I got too happy if the number was low, and I got too upset if it was a higher number. And I went, why am I doing this to myself? And by the way, my body fluctuates all the time anyway. That is outside of my control, and pounds come and go, and water gets retained.
Water intake, stress, salt, how hard your workout was. I mean, we could do a whole other podcast on that.
Well, but I was just like, one day I went, why am I basing how I feel about myself based on a number that I, in some ways, have some control over, but in other ways I don't have certain control over it. And I went, this is not the indicator of health. Like, the indicator of health is how I feel, and also how I think I look. Like you were saying, clothes. So now I do the same thing. I just measure by clothes. I go, okay, I can fit into these clothes, so that makes me feel good. And I don't weigh myself, because it was funny. I had to go to an orthopedic I had an orthopedic appointment the other day, and they weigh you and do your height because they need to. And it was funny because I go, oh, I wonder kind of what weight I'm at. And I got caught right back into the trap, and I saw the number, and I did not like the number, even though because I thought it was going to be a lot lower, because I never weigh myself. And I saw it and I got really angry, and I was like, their scale must be wrong, or DJ, you're not as fit as you think you are. And I went, this is why I don't look at the number. So for me, and again, not everybody, of course, if you can look at it and not have a reaction, great. But for those of us that look at those numbers, or we look at our bank account numbers and we feel less than, that does not have to be the way we measure our, the way we measure our fitness is
from, like we talked about, self-worth doesn't come from external things. So your business or your health, your worth is not based off of the number on the scale or the success in your business. Like the amount of money you're making doesn't equate your self-worth. You're worthy no matter what. You're born worthy.
You were born worthy. I think that is a perfect place to wrap up, because that is absolutely a great mindset piece to end on. You were born worthy. And also, nobody is perfect. So everyone's got imperfections in their life. And if one of your imperfections is your physical vitality, or your energy, or your body shape, or your fitness, or nutrition, or your mindset, now's the time to get somebody to help you, because the reality of it is we can't do things alone. We can do some things alone, but most things in life, we need help. And so this is a great opportunity to have somebody else come up with all the ideas,
Take
and then
stress away. Yes, exactly.
yes, you've got enough to worry about. Hire a coach. It has transformed my life. Angelica and her team are incredible, and they're going to cover not just your diet and not just your strength. They're going to take a look at everything and say, hey, here, let's come up with a plan that makes you a happier, healthier human being. So the best place to go to learn more about what Angelica and the Fit for Life team can do for you is at our website. So go to angelicaventrice.com. That's Ventrice. Angelica, like you might suspect. Angelicaventrice.com. We'll have a link to that also in the show notes. Reach out to them, learn about their wellness programs. They are the real deal. And I'm telling you, get away from the diet fads and
yes.
It's amazing.
You can have a cupcake and lose weight, ladies. Don't stress. Like, you can have a glass of wine and lose weight. There's balance to it for sure.
Well, and we're going to have a glass of wine and a cupcake anyway at some point, right? So it's like, might as well build it in to the routine. I absolutely could not be a bigger fan of what Angelica does. So please, everyone listening, reach out. She works with real estate agents. She gets you guys. She's kind of one of you in a sense, because she had a similar sort of a previous career. Being in medical sales is kind of the same thing. It's a lot of racing around, doctors, and it's a lot of like
you're racing around either way, whether you're racing around to houses or racing around to doctors' offices.
Well, Angelica, thank you for being on our show. We are so thrilled and we would love to have you back as well. So for everyone listening, go visit Angelica's website, angelicaventrice.com. Look at some of their free downloads. They have all sorts of cool resources there, and then they can put a wellness program for you. And again, if you're thinking, well, gosh, there's a cost for that. There is a cost for, hiring them, but I suspect I can't guarantee, but I would almost bet a good chunk of money that I'll actually end up earning you more income, because you'll have more energy to treat.
100,000%. All my clients make more money. Also, you can go to
There we go.
Like, I can guarantee that, literally. You could also go to my Instagram. It's at the Angelica Ventrice, and I'm very active on there. You could pop in, you could ask me questions. So
I love it.
To check out. Thank you so much.
Geez, I'm going to sign up, because I would like to be healthier, happier, and also make more money. So to me, it's a no-brainer. And I'm not even joking. Like you just said, every one of your clients makes more money. If we just look at factual data and we say, wow, that's actually true. Okay, sign me up. Right. So I'm a fan. I mean, that's awesome. That's an amazing thing to say. So everyone reach out to Angelica. Her job is to make your life a little easier, believe it or not. By doing some of this structure, you actually end up with more freedom. Sounds sort of counterintuitive maybe, but you'll get more freedom with more structure. And her team is, you don't want to try to figure this all out yourself. If I didn't have a personal trainer, I would have absolutely hurt my body in possibly permanent ways. And the fact that they are going to guide you through and make sure you're doing it in a healthy way is really important. Don't do it on your own. You're going to make mistakes. Let them be your guide, and we minimize all of the errors along the way. So again, angelicaventrice.com. Angelica, thank you so much on behalf of our audience. We appreciate your time today. On behalf of thank you. And on behalf of Angelica and I, we also thank the audience for paying attention and being part of our show. As always, please tell a friend about our program. The best way that you can help us grow is by telling one other real estate agent about this podcast. So
Power of one. Share it. Yeah. Share
Power of One. Absolutely. Yes. That is a great book as well. So yes, everybody think of one other real estate agent that maybe is thinking about wanting more vitality, or somebody who's just struggling physically. Send them a link to this episode. We can find us right on our website, keepingitrealpod.com, and leave us a review too. Whatever podcast app you might be listening to, let us know what you like about the show, and let us know what you'd like us to improve. We want to continually improve to make this better for you, the listener. So thanks, Angelica. And thank you to everyone who has been watching and listening. And we will see everybody on the next episode.
Bye, guys.